在这一次艾达风暴里头，我们所看到对路易斯安那最严重的摧毁还是电网。现在美国的 Washington Post 非常善尽媒体的角色，正在调查这件事情。而美国的众议院在这一次即将通过的1兆美元的基建法案里头，包括了电网，在9月27号的时刻将进行正式的表决。美国的电网的老旧，像路易斯安那这个地方是1950年代到1960年代所盖的，飓风考验了上次是防洪措施，而这一次是电网。
Hurricane Ida leaves a trail of destruction.
The utilities rebuilt after Katrina did not hold. This massive transmission tower mangled, power lines falling into the Mississippi River. Ida damaging all 8 transmission lines that supply the New Orleans area with electricity.
We have 1 million people without electricity. All of Orleans, Jefferson Parish, St. Bernard, and Plaquemine. Imagine you are a patient who relies upon home oxygen, and you've got a generator, but you can't get gasoline for your generator because the gas station doesn't have electricity to pump the gas.
极端天气事件暴露美国电网脆弱又老旧，飓风艾达袭击路易斯安那和密西西比州，造成超过3000公里的输电线，200多个变电站故障，发电机需要的燃料也短缺，部分地区民众恐要过上数周没电用的生活。
In addition to flooding, the lack of electricity means lack of air conditioning on hot summer days, or carbon monoxide poisoning from generators that aren't used correctly. Also, the city's pumping stations rely on power. These are meant to control flooding, and right now they're forced to rely on a backup power system.
路易斯安那州2020年的发电来源70%是天然气，其余包括煤炭、核能、水力和太阳能等，但总和不足以符合全州需求。约1/5电力是经由跨州电网从他州供应。问题就在于，美国现在用的电网大多数是在60-70年前建造，当时预期使用50年，且是在没有频繁的极端天气事件影响下。
And the grids most Americans are on aren't just big, they're huge. The entire East Coast, from Canada to Florida, is on one grid, and the entire West Coast is connected in another. While most power tends to stay local, this grid allows electricity to flow over huge areas and between states. Like in New York City, power comes from energy plants in New York, but also from neighboring states and even Canada. This huge grid also means in emergencies, power can be directed where it's needed.
Our current grid is essentially a one-way, dumb system where electrons are simply moved from points of generation, whether it's a coal plant, hydro, nuclear, or solar, sent generally long distances across high voltage lines to nodes that are the interface between the inter and intrastate transmission system and then the distribution grid that steps down the voltage from the high voltage to the lower efficiency but easier to manage voltage that we send to our homes and businesses.
When you're sending a lot of power over just a few lines, that means that a tree falling on those power lines or a storm can easily knock out power to a lot of people.
而且大多数的电网设施都是建造在地面上，费用较低廉。输电线地下化1英里要花费约300万美元，高架电线1英里花费约80万美元，但更容易受天灾人祸波及，电力传输效率折损。美国电网设计的时代背景是在气候较稳定的年代，然而2000年以来，因天气相关问题造成的断电增加67%。相信大家对今年2月德州暴雪大断电还记忆犹新。
So most of Texas is on its own grid. It means they don't have to follow the same regulations as the rest of the country, like reliability and cost standards. But it also means when it lost power in the storm, it couldn't easily get electricity from other states. Its independence kept it in the dark. Being on its own, Texas has to make all their own power. They have a variety of sources. When the storm came, it affected everyone. Several coal plants stopped operating as coal piles froze. One of 4 Texan nuclear plants went offline. Some wind turbines stopped working in the freezing cold. natural gas, which actually contains water vapor, froze in storage wells and pipelines. Every one of these systems failed in part, and it had nothing to do with the type of energy and everything to do with these companies not being prepared for the cold.
电网同样需要跟上气候变迁的速度，强化更新以承受极端天气的冲击。电网系统强健与否攸关生命安全，但美国电网过时，大多数的电力公司和公家监管机构也没有适时因应气候变迁加剧的风险。
Clearly, you can run an energy system in cold temperatures. There are wind turbines operating in Antarctica and gas plants in Alaska and Alberta. So this is not a technology-specific issue. It was more a failure to anticipate that this is something that could even occur in Texas at this, length and severity, and to prepare for extreme cold temperatures.
New Orleans City Council, which has overseen energy for decades, has decided to outsource a lot of its oversight responsibilities. And what they've done is they actually spend the vast majority of their budget on hiring consultant companies to regulate energies. People are going to start looking at these incidents in the past and examining whether this company, Entergy, failed to upgrade its system in preparation for an event like this, which many people, saw coming for many years.
One big issue is that a lot of utilities are effectively monopolies, and they're regulated by regulators that are trying to protect these old business models.
美国上回大规模投资在电力系统上是在2009年，当年生效的美国复苏与再投资法案中，拨款45亿美元更新电力系统，多数用来在全美各地安装智慧电表上，可提供顾客和电力公司详细能源使用数据，帮助顾客更有效率使用能源。电力公司可及时调整电力供需，但实际使用上却没有充分发挥效用。
About half the U.S. households have smart meters. Now, things like the data and analytics, very low level of usage. So the meter data gets captured, it's used for billing, it's used for customer service. In most utilities, it's not used for much more.
要跟上21世纪的环境变迁，美国理想电网是用干净能源发电，落实零碳排，搭配微电网系统，在主电网失灵时可救援供电，输电线更新成可大范围双向传送干净电力，并能防御骇客攻击，承受天灾袭击。参院8月通过的1兆美元基建法案就包含打造理想电网的预算，该法案还有待众院表决。
Most states already have net metering policies, allowing solar customers to sell energy back to the grid. Many believe that the next step is letting customers sell energy from their home battery systems or their EVs.
Your electric vehicle could be an asset for the grid. So when more power is needed, your vehicle will get a message, stop charging and start discharging and give us some of that battery power because we need it right now.
理想的电网时代还路途遥远，当下调整个人用电习惯也有助维护老旧电网，在高峰期节电、低峰期用电。现代化生活已离不开电力，聪明用电才能避免断电之苦。
我们待会儿回到文茜的世界周报第2小时，为大家来看美国在阿富汗的最后撤军。